point.
So it's not an emergency fix.
So the compact is a kind of a medium-term solution. That's right, it's a medium-term solution.
All right, you still watch the Breakfast Show on Liberty Online TV, and members say you will watch the program. Can drop your comments in the comment section. As you know, I go begin for reading a question them one they ask regarding this MCC grant when I found $480 million, and the Salone government, according to the US, then say the Salone government willingly don't say they go contribute $14.2 million to that particular project, say for ensure say the lights come for Salone people. Again at the studio this morning, the MCC country director, Wayne Stephen Grudda, he don't tell you now how this project has to get for work after this stage within this when at the mobilization stage, and that's when the project will officially kickstart when they expect to go last for the next 5 years. In case you get any question or comments for me regarding the discussion, you can send out to 074-200-545 or drop your comment at the comment section at the different platform. Then also you watch Liberty Online TV this morning. As we continue for talk to Stephen, and one other thing we go on for let Stephen make mention of, for let the public gets a clear understanding, gets to do with there's this popular perception from Sierra Leoneans that when the international community development partners pour cash into the economy, they will ensure it goes back home by bringing expatriates that are not here, pay them with the same money. So how is it going to work for this particular grant? Are you going to be paying the, you just stated that you're going to make sure you source out for the best farms in the world. Are you going to be paying them from the same money, or there is another arrangement for that?
Yeah, so the compact really emphasizes country ownership. So, you know, I will have a very small team here in country. Actually, in terms of Americans, it will just be myself and a deputy country director. The implementation of the compact is actually managed by the government of Sierra Leone through the project implementation unit that we're calling the MCA Sierra Leone, the Millennium Challenge Account Sierra Leone. So right away, you know, that's a staff of 50, 60, maybe 70 people at one point that are Sierra Leoneans. All right, and they're Sierra Leonean citizens, they're Sierra Leonean professionals, paid salary through the compact to implement the compact. In addition to those folks, of course, then there's the contractors that come in and do the work. And what we do in MCC compacts is we want to make sure that the best solution is achieved, that the best results are accomplished. And so we open the competition for the best firm to win. So there's no set aside for Sierra Leonean firms. There's no set aside for American firms. Okay. And many of the compacts in the power sector that we've done in Africa have some American firms involved. Many of them don't. It's about who is the best firm at the time to get the job done.
So thinking about who is the best to get the job done, how does local content play in all of this? Because there's this strong local content policy that whatever project is going to be implemented in Sierra Leone, Sierra Leoneans must be prioritized in terms of local content. How does it work in all of this?
So it's very hard for any international firm, especially if they don't have an office already here in Sierra Leone, it's very hard for them to come in and implement their contract without employing local talent, without partnering with local businesses. But it's also very difficult for some Sierra Leonean firms to meet the cash flow requirements, the financing requirements, the past experience requirements to actually win some of these contracts. So, you know, what we see a lot in compacts, especially in the power sector, is international firms bidding on them in partnership with local firms, including, you know, many local staff, skilled, semi-skilled, and then a lot of unskilled labor opportunities involved as well.
So you're taking that into consideration in terms of collaboration, ensuring that it appears to be a 50-50. If we are hiring an international firm, but when they come, they give jobs to the locals.
We like to see it. We expect it to happen. But as I said, there's no set aside for Sierra Leonean firms, and there's no set aside for American firms.
We don't have the expertise yet. So it's obvious you're going to hire international firms.
For some things, for sure, and that may well be the case. But those international firms, we fully expect them to be partnering with local businesses, hiring locals as well, and that's actually a tremendous opportunity for skills transfer to Sierra Leonean businesses.
So it means after the 5-year period, when they are gone, we will be able as a nation to ensure the infrastructures that you leave, we maintain them.
I hope so. Yeah, that's certainly an aspiration we have for the compact. In particular, the management of the grid. You know, I think it's very important that EDSA and EGTC grow in their capacity to manage the grid or to manage a private contractor that provides management of different assets. We really want to see, you know, Sierra Leoneans taking the reins of their power sector and leading the country into the future.
So this is going to be a national project, not just a focus on Freetown, for example, which is the capital. It's going to be national at the end of the day.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is a compact for all Sierra Leoneans. It's going to impact all regions of the country. If you can imagine today, anywhere that there's a power line, at some point, the compact will be investing to improve that, whether it be through some sort of refurbishment or through equipping the power lines with information communication technology so that they can communicate with the control centers, the dispatch centers, and really establish a centralized, modern systems operation for this country that can greatly improve the efficiency of utility performance.
All right, Stephen, lad, read message and we don't come inside now. You've been telling me so you just have this small Creole. So I can't read the message. I can't read the message and now for let you respond to the message then. You respond to them while they read them. So while they read them, listen so that you can respond to the message and when people they don't send.
Okay.
And they go to the Facebook page. We saw the very first message we had a look at this morning at the breakfast show. For the Mustafa Toure say, the US government should know that governance in Sierra Leone is not like in the US. Here is just power consolidation and not positively impact people's life economically. The US should ensure they stick to their words because if not, these guys will continue with business as usual. You said that the grants will be signed after implementation, but all of a sudden there was a signing. These guys will continue to drag their feet until the next election because that's the easiest way of winning election rigging. I guess you take note of that. Or you want for the responders that they read? Let me read a lot of them before you respond, or you want to be responding?
Maybe one at a time. Yeah,
okay,
maybe one at a time. But no, I think it's a good question. It's definitely something that we've been very focused on throughout compact development. Compact development was delayed, as you know, about over concerns around the 2023 multi-tier elections and what those meant for the people of Sierra Leone and for the future of their democratic trajectory. It's something that the United States cares about deeply, as the ambassador addresses on a regular basis. And he's actually been very generous with his time on this topic to explain the U.S. strategy, and so I leave it to him to speak to that. But as I've said as well, MCC remains committed to the principles of inclusive democracy, and that's something that we expect to see from all of our partner countries throughout the life of these partnerships. Unfortunately, in some of these partnerships, MCCs had to step back, either suspend compacts or terminate compacts. So those tools are certainly available. None of us want to see that. We want to see this fully implemented and the benefits fully realized. And we're thrilled that for today the compact is eligible, it's signed, ratified, and we are full speed ahead.
All right, another message from Fode Sulaiman Kamara. It says, fellow Sierra Leoneans, let's don't be opponents towards the MCC Compact, but let's be proponents towards it. It's a huge amount of money that is given to us as a country, will address many of our basic social amenities. Notwithstanding, Mr. Stevens, you should ensure the agreement of national unity comes to reality between the government of Sierra Leone and the main opposition, APC.
Really appreciate that comment, and I think it's very much appreciated. We want to make progress on economic development, And we really believe that transparency in the process provides some of the best accountability mechanisms. And so all of the compact agreements, the full document, the program implementation agreement, all of the conditions, those are publicly available on our websites, on the U.S. Embassy websites. Anybody can go in and read those. We believe that transparency is really critical to building trust between citizens and their government, and between citizens and their government partners, so that everybody knows what's going on here, and there's no confusion about how the compact is going to proceed.
So the conditionalities and the benchmarks, was the U.S. really deliberate about tying these grants to those conditionalities? Were you guys deliberate?
Very deliberate.
Why?
Yeah, very deliberate. Because, well, if you're speaking to the conditions in the compact specifically related to the electricity sector, those conditions are critically important for the success of the compact and the sustainability of the compact. Speaking to, the decision to slow down compact development as we await the process of democratic building of institutions and the agreement for national unity and the steps to implement it. All of that was for us to understand really what direction is Sierra Leone going to take, now that there's been all this confusion around the 2023 results. What direction are they going to take moving forward? It's been monitored very closely. I know our ambassador is in very close contact with all stakeholders involved here in Sierra Leone and back in the United States, and he's been very generous with his time on this topic to make sure that the compact, as all U.S. government programs in Sierra Leone, is helping to contribute to the forward momentum of this country, and that includes in the space of inclusive democracy.
And Mystic Nadwazak, Mystic says, so many Sierra Leoneans are left with mixed feelings as a result of too much caveat on the MCC grant. The grant is full of too much bureaucracies.
So again, we're looking to build trust here, and there it's very important to make sure that our shared strategy with the government of Sierra Leone and the utilities for improving the power sector is very clear, and that the funds are going to be used in a responsible way, and that the outcomes that we all hope to achieve will be achieved. So in order for those things to happen, there's a lot of coordination, a lot of alignment that is necessary at multiple levels, at the utility, at the ministry level, at the national level. And so the documentation that captures those agreements and illustrates the way forward does have a lot of specifics in it, for sure. And the degree to which the bureaucracy around the program seems to be a lot, is to make sure that the program is successful, that the funding is accountable, and that ultimately citizens can be assured that the funds are going to be used in the power sector for their benefit.
And will it address the issue of business as usual?
So business as usual maybe is a loaded term, and I'm sure you have something very specific in mind, but for us, business as usual in terms of compact implementation means very clear agreements with our partners going into the relationship, and then very deliberate follow-through on those commitments.
All right, because the business as usual for us, in the next 2 weeks we'll talk about it, and at the end of the day, nothing is done.
Yeah.
The money goes to some personal pockets.
Right.
So it's not going to be like that.
That's something that we have zero tolerance for, and it's not, I would say, unusual in compact countries to have individuals in particular that think that they can take advantage of public funding for their own benefit. That is unfortunately very common around the world, and so the compact has a lot of safeguards in place to prevent that from happening. One of which is what we were talking about earlier. This is not just a $480 million check to this bank account or that bank account in Sierra Leone. There are quarterly decision points about how the funds will be used in the upcoming quarter. But we also have a very professional and independent anti-fraud and corruption team that specializes in this, and they can be contacted anonymously by individuals, by civil society organizations. So we're going to be publicizing emails, phone numbers, websites.
So your eyes are on Sierra Leone for this particular grant.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is what we do. We don't just send money and then walk away, right? That's what I'm here for, is to help make sure that the terms of our contract are honored.
For the Mustafa Toure says, it's unfortunate that someone has to tell government to do the right things, but are subject to get handouts. The major problem of Sierra Leone is constitution, and I personally think the US should press government to implement the reviewed constitution. It's only when powers are taken away from the presidency that institutions will function independently and unbiased. Sierra Leone has passed almost all the bills for institutions, but the powers of the presidency is the problem. And another message from Fode Suleiman Kamara says, we really want the 480 million MCC Compact. Sierra Leone needs sustainability in the electricity sector, and if that money is being given to the government of Sierra Leone, perhaps that will solve the inadequacy supply of electricity in the country. But however, tough measures need to be put in place towards the implementation process, because Salon will sabi we safe. Talking about tough measures.
Tough measures, absolutely. And here I would go back to the quarterly disbursement review process that we use in these compacts. So each quarter, the MCA Sierra Leone will make a request for a certain amount of money to be dispersed over that next quarter. When they make that request, our team compares that to the work plan that's in motion, the progress, whether it's realistic, and then we also go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way down the conditions precedent that need to be satisfied throughout the life of the compact, and we check off, is it still the case? Is it still the case? Is it still the case before we authorize the disbursement, right? So the conditions of the compact are very closely monitored, and then, there's also auditing of compact performance, compact implementation, to the extent where if I, as a country director, allow something that violates a term in the contract, the auditor will figure that out, and they will come after me for a corrective measure. So all of us are party to this contract, to this compact now, the United States, Sierra Leone, and we need to work together to make sure that we implement it according to what we all agreed.
All right, so the final message I will read in this edition of the Breakfast Show is coming from Osprey Kamara. He says, what is the standards of the U.S. Congress in the disbursement of the MCC Compact based on financial year?
Based on financial year. So MCC has what we call no-year funding for our compacts. So that is to say that the funding for this compact has been set aside, and it's not a new question every year as to whether the funding will be available or not. Once the compact is signed, the funding is allocated, it's set aside for us to implement the compact. And that's a very special authority, that's a very special privilege that we enjoy from our congressional stakeholders, and MCC, is very honored by that and appreciates it, and so we do everything that we can to make sure that the compact funds are implemented in a responsible way so that we can maintain that trust and maintain that privilege from our own people in the United States.
All right, many thanks being here this morning, but waiting now you final parting words so you go left with salon people regarding this light business. What do you go tell them in terms of assuring them for hope say this project will bring better for them?
So the MCC Compact is a partnership between United States and Sierra Leone. It is for all Sierra Leoneans. Maybe some parting words in Creole, but we're going to do everything we can to increase the reliability of the program. And myself, I go there with Tuna, my deputy country director go there with Tuna. From time to time, you go see the team come and go. So they are welcome. We're glad for there with Tuna, and thank you also to Liberty TV for this invitation.
All right, many thanks, and it's a pleasure having you here this morning.
My pleasure.
Thank you for coming to the studio. Well, I had this edition of the Breakfast Show go left for now, but don't forget to Liberty Online TV don't launch the anniversary project. You can drop by now with 33 Bathurst Street office and support this particular cause. Many thanks to the production team. Now Princess Pias produces program, Emmanuel Manley Campbell and Dennis Camara make on a series live. Now the different platforms they beat on YouTube, USCW on Facebook, USCW na the website www.libertyonlinetv.com. We want for so many thanks to now all for done the day for we. Until we meet again. Welcome. Get a good day and goodbye.
This is Liberty Online TV powered by Orange Sierra Leone. Orange.
Liberty Online TV, the 1 year this November, and you know what's in that mean.
And throughout the month of November, na celebration period. And as you know, na time we for coming and support Liberty Online TV for continue for doing work.